This is a new Democratic Party. We're bringing a knife to a knife fight.
They're a bloodthirsty lot. Their rhetoric tends toward the violent, doesn't it? It definitely does. You know, a knife to it. I think he's trying to do Sean Connery, isn't he? And the Chicago way and all that good stuff. But not bright enough to pull that one off. Well, very happy Wednesday to you. It's Hump Day in the Clinton household, as you know. You know what that means for Hillary. And today, I'm not sure if there's been no mention of mailbag. That might be falling by the wayside because of the overwhelming number of staff people we have. It's all the people we have on staff, just like NPR. We've got 33 people on staff and a sushi chef here at the Chris Plant Show, as every 3-hour radio show in Washington, D.C. has. Just kidding, not really. Only if you work for NPR do you have 33 people doing your 3-hour show. Here we have 2 people, and then hopefully someone will come in and answer phones at some point. This is our hope. But we're not suckling on the taxpayer teat, are we? No, we're not. We most certainly are not. There is a crazy thing that goes on in Washington from time to time. It's usually a sign of some kind. The Washington Post has the headline, "The U.S. Botanic Gardens corpse flower," they have a corpse flower, "has bloomed. Here's the stink on it." Because this corpse flower, it's called the corpse flower because it smells like death. It looks kind of pretty. If you have no olfactory sense at all, then it's a very nice flower to have around. But if you have, a sense of smell, just for Democrats, that's what olfactory means. But this flower, my best girl and I, we went down several years ago. It only blooms every now and then, sometimes years between the blooms, and then it blooms for a very brief period. But boy, it stinks. It stinks like a corpse. That's why they call it the corpse flower, of course. And it's in bloom. Botanical experts, they all agree that it has to do with the death of the Democratic Party, with their bring a knife to a knife fight, and it's they bring a knife, we bring a gun, right? They put one in the hospital, we put one in the morgue. That's the whole thing, isn't it? Right? That's good. What was that, Michael? The Untouchables. Yeah, it was the Untouchables. Sure, Sean Connery. All that stuff. Yeah, so they got the corpse flower in bloom. That means the Democrat Party is doomed. Doomed, I say. Democrats, what are Democrats thinking out there? Anybody talk to any Democrats anymore? Because it's difficult to know what they're thinking. And I use the term broadly, very broadly. Thinking, that is. Amazing stuff. For example, in Washington, D.C., it's crazy out here. The family identifies, local news story here. Family identifies 17-year-old victim of triple homicide. Got a triple. And that's in Washington, D.C., because why would that be? That's not even. Last week we had 4 people murdered in a building in New York, and it was wall-to-wall, bumper-to-bumper coverage on all the cable channels and newspapers across the country. And in Washington, D.C., you get 4 people killed in 24 hours, and it's like, what are we having for lunch? Because it's Democrats and the news media. Were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. So they got a late Tuesday night triple shooting in Southeast D.C. Left 1 man dead, according to the Metropolitan Police Department, who the Democrats want to defund. Just before 11:30 p.m., officers were called naturally the 800 block of U Street for a report of a shooting. On the scene, police discovered 3 victims. They got 3 victims because all the shooting and everything. That's amazing stuff. 1 man and a woman were found conscious and breathing, but suffering gunshot wounds. This is all perfectly normal. And I talked about this last week, that the quadruple shooting, a terrible, horrible mass homicide, mass murder. 4 is the magic number for mass. Use the word mass for mass shooting and mass homicide. And that was big because that was in Midtown Manhattan. And were they all white people? Because that usually does it for the news media, doesn't it? It's an amazing thing. Also in Washington, D.C., we had another amazing story because I'm a little hesitant, but his name, he goes by Big Balls. Big Balls. He was a member of Doge, brought in by the Elon Musk. And the young man living in Washington, D.C., ally of Elon Musk, brought in to do the Department of Government Efficiency and save us all money and hunt for government waste, fraud, and abuse, which the Democrats clearly support. He was minding his own business, and he was beaten to a pulp in Washington, D.C. by a violent gang of Democrats. And the video, President Trump is on the case. And it's going to be a big thing, a big story, I guarantee you. 19 years old. His real name is Edward, Koristine, Koristine, C-O-R-I-S-T-I-N-E. Koristine is his name. And he was attacked by a violent mob, drenched in his own blood, his nose, his mouth, blood all down his arms. He was wearing white pants, all drenched in blood, and beaten by a violent gang. He was trying to come to the aid of a woman who was being carjacked, and it was, I think they said it was about 3 a.m., right, about 3 a.m. Didn't your mother tell you nothing good happens after 2 a.m.? That's not always true, by the way, but, it's true most of the time. On average, if you're going to play the average. Amazing stuff. We've got, it's making news all over the world now. And because everybody likes using Big Balls in the headline, that's his nickname. Big Balls, former Doge staffer from Connecticut, assaulted in D.C. carjacking, report says. And this is a guy, you've seen pictures of him, and he's a smart guy who has occasionally spoken on camera, I think. Former Federal Department of Government Efficiency staffer from Connecticut, not the most important point, was assaulted during an attempted carjacking in Washington, D.C. over the weekend, prompting a threat from President Donald Trump to federalize the city. And they put the word federalize in quotation marks for some reason. The staffer was identified in a police report as Edward Koristine, 19 years old, a smart guy, according to Wired. That's a publication of some kind. Koristine, who's from New Canaan, that's a town in Connecticut, became widely known after it was reported he went by the moniker Big Balls, right? And I don't think it was necessarily about physical characteristics, but about his the way he comports himself behaviorally, I believe. He announced his departure from Doge earlier this summer. And then amazing, a few days ago, a gang of about a dozen young men tried to assault a woman in her car at night in D.C., Elon Musk said in a post on X, which he owns, and so he can use it as a place. A Doge team member saw what was happening. Now, somebody else, a woman, was being carjacked by about a dozen criminals who were raised by Democrats in Washington, D.C. to be criminals. And that's the thing about that. A Doge team member, that's Big Balls, he saw what was happening, ran to defend her, and was severely beaten to the point of concussion, but he saved her. That's pretty good. That's what Elon Musk wrote on X, which we used to call Twitter. Isn't that also got to put that in parentheses? Musk shared a screenshot of Trump's post from Truth Social, in which the president referred to the attackers as gang members. Well, you got 12 people beating and carjacking at 3 o'clock in the morning on a darkened D.C. street. And it was at 14th and Swan, which is a popular neighborhood. Know a couple people that live right over there. And there are restaurants there that people go to. Joe Biden went to that French restaurant. They have a pretty good burger, though. And it's not bad. We go over there sometimes. And amazing stuff. So President Trump posted on Truth Social, and the president referred to the attackers as gang members. The media might not approve of that. That might be racist or something like that. Trump's post on Truth Social included a photo of the 19-year-old Koristine, who was bloodied and shirtless. And his, they probably ripped his shirt off while they were beating him. And it's Democrats. And was it a racial attack? Was it a racist attack? We're gonna need photographs. Let's get the mugshots out here. Then we'll be the judge of whether it's a racial attack. Like, the Democrats, the gangs of black people beat up white people, like in Cincinnati a week ago. And Democrats say, what? There's no racial element to this. For the first time ever, they see something like that. There is no racial component. Can't be. All the criminals are black, beating up a white man and then knocking out the white woman and smashing her face like, she's fighting Mike Tyson. And the Democrats shrug and say, let's go to Starbucks and spend $14 on a coffee. Isn't the economy terrible? The incident took place between around 3 a.m. and 4:20 a.m. Sunday. So that's very late Saturday night, staying out past midnight. The police report cited by Wired said officers patrolling in the area spotted a group of around 10 juveniles surrounding the complainant's vehicle and assaulting one of the two victims, the outlet said. Wired is not my go-to for truth and justice in the American way, as a rule. The report said Korstein saw the suspects approach and make a comment about taking the vehicle, Wired reported. He then pushed a woman who was with him into the vehicle and turned to face the carjackers who assaulted him. That's generous understatement. According to the Wired report, two of the group were arrested by police, who the Democrats want to defund, after the juveniles fled when the police arrived, like rats, like the rats that they're. You're a rat. And that's a big thing. Now, President Trump is on the case, and he's in there, and he's talking about taking over Washington, D.C., which the federal government can do because it's a federal district. And it's run by leftists who are not smart people. They're not honest people. They're not good and decent people. In fact, the voters in Washington, D.C. just reelected Trayon White, right, who believes that the Rothschild family, because they're Jews, control the weather. And he was taken by the FBI because he's taken a great many tens of thousands in bribes. And then the Democrats said, let's elect him again. And he was expelled from the D.C. City Council by the Democrat members, all of the D.C. City Council. And I got to tell you, just amazing. But President Trump is taking action. He's talking about federalizing the District of Columbia. As a longtime resident of the District of Columbia, I'm all in favor of the federal government taking over the District of Columbia because even the federal government couldn't do a worse job than the Democrats that currently run the District of Columbia. Aren't they amazing? They should be taken over. And I actually mean that. I'm not, I wish that I were kidding, but it's a terrible thing. Yeah, and two teenagers. Occasionally they have these curfews. I saw the other night watching the local news, they imposed a curfew in Washington between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m., so I guess the kids can come out after 11 p.m. and maraud until 3 a.m. But from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., only, not just in northeast Washington, D.C., that would be too simple, but they listed roads between this road and that road, north to south, between this road and that road, east to west, in northeast D.C. and northeast D.C. only. And every place else, there is no curfew. And in the area where there is a curfew, it's just between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. That's Democrats trying to fight crime. They're dumber than they look. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Yeah, and this guy, Korstein, 19 years old, Doge guy, software engineer, and he was quite visible during the Doge thing, and the media attacked him and vilified him. Oh, you got a bunch of 19-year-olds doing there. Yeah, this 19-year-old's smarter than your whole family. But never mind that. He was brought in by Elon Musk to do important things. And now he's been beaten to a bloody pulp. I assume that he'll be out there today somewhere, talking on camera. Maybe not, but probably. Isn't it amazing? All right, that's I just got off to that because it was happening right there. But I've got a lot to get to today, of course. Here's the insane media. President Trump, I played this for you, some of it yesterday. President Trump on the roof at the White House. And the New Republic, communists who harvest the organs of children. So what the hell was Trump doing on the White House roof? And they go into conspiracy theories and stuff. They're completely nuts. Why was Trump on the White House roof? Some theories, New York Magazine, so they start making stuff up. Their imaginations are fertile, at least, even if their women aren't. That's right. That's what I said. And today is Barack Hussein Obama's birthday. We're going to celebrate Obama's birthday today. we've got a tradition celebrating Barack Obama's birthday. And then I was reminded of the day that Barack Obama really annoyed Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Boy, Barack Obama's got to be regretting that about now, doesn't he? Now that we're impaneling a grand jury to look at putting him in Gitmo for the rest of his life, he'll never be able to see Big Mike again, which might be the best thing for him and for her. See this picture of her hugging him? I was concerned for his spine. Looked like his spine could be crushed. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, they're still attacking Tulsi Gabbard, the lunatic Democrats. Wasn't she a Democrat 20 minutes ago? Amazing. The Democrats fleeing justice from Texas on private jets, hanging out with billionaires because they're defending the little guy. And we're at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. There are some big anniversaries today. It's a lot going on there. My friend Pat Reap, it's his birthday. And that's not the only thing we usually celebrate. It's also the 80th anniversary of Democrat President Harry Truman dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. They did not submit. 3 days later, dropped a second atomic bomb on the city of Nagasaki, and then they said, maybe they got a garage full of these things. Maybe we should actually surrender and end this war. And they did. And Harry Truman had done the right thing. Japanese had done the wrong thing. But it's an amazing thing going on out there. So much going on. Now my friend Pat, he has a daughter who's in college. He's in college now, and he went to his daughter this morning. We've been texting back and forth about his birthday and Hiroshima, and he went to his daughter, a college student, and said, "Bridget, what happened 80 years ago today? What happened 80 years ago today?" And she said, and scratched her chin and said, "You were born?" So you were born. That's now off by decades, by a miss by decades. But it's a funny answer. It's the funniest answer from his daughter. And that's the important thing. That means that he's raising her well. That's what that means. But today is the 80th anniversary of the atomic bomb. Hiroshima. It's now, this is a little bit of a sensitive subject with me. It's also the anniversary of my first marriage, of my wedding first marriage. It was a starter marriage. Didn't go very well. And the way I like to look at it is, August 6th and two great bombs in history. Democrats are confused, we know that, over gender and sex and numbers. Numbers confuse them, frustrate them. We have learned that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has deported 50 illegal alien migrants back to their home country of Ireland. Back to Ireland. Democrats love it when white people are in the crosshairs, because they're the party of slavery. They're still trying to live that down. It's not working. Federal government has arrested roughly 50 Irish migrants for deportation amid left-wing complaints that he's only deporting non-white migrants. See, we keep looking for white illegal aliens. They found some, so they're going to send it back to Ireland. And there you go. Take that. They wish we were at war with Germany, and we might be before the Democrats get done with us. All right, let's go. There's a lot to get to. Yeah, they're celebrating Barack Obama's birthday. It was actually 2 days ago, and the governor of Illinois said, Barack Obama's great Illinois president, along with Abraham Lincoln. We'll get to that as well. Too many amazing things from the wacky, rascally Democrats. They're a nutty bunch, aren't they? Nutty bunch. Yes, sir. But 80 years since Hiroshima. That's kind of a big deal. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Rob, calling from Montgomery County, Maryland. Robert, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, good morning to you, as always. I'm so glad that you're informing us of all these false narratives and whatnot. I appreciate it. I can't tell you enough. A quick plug, I had mentioned to Jasmine, a gentleman from Columbia, Maryland named Bill. If he ever calls in, you got to talk to this guy. He's a diehard on our side guy. Normal. Normal.
Yeah, normal. I remember normal.
I think Trump, when he was on the top of the White House, I said this to Jasmine, and he was walking in the circle. He's planning to put an observatory up there, put a telescope up there. I'm kidding, of course.
Have to bring back Kamala for that because she was our space czar and our border czar. So that's good news for space. Nothing happened in space while she was our space czar.
Well, two other things real quick. And I'll let you go, please. Jasmine Crockett the other day. By the way, I was going to say to Jasmine, you can get a shirt that says, I'm not related to Jasmine. No, I'm kidding. She made the comment the other day, the adults are in the room. She was, they had her on somewhere. And, I remember when President Trump had the joint session, the Congress, and had all the libs and the diehards and the leftists on the other side with their little paddles and whatnot. Yeah, they look like a bunch of adults over there, right?
Right. In theory.
And the other, and the last thing was Thune needs to shut down the Senate so that we can get all these important people confirmed. Then Trump can do it. The recess thing. I don't know why he's not doing it. I don't understand that. But those are the points. And you have a wonderful day.
Well, thank you. Thank you very kindly. Thank you for being cheerful and knowing what's going on in the world and knowing right from wrong. I think that's great. Right from wrong. That's in short supply as well. Good stuff. Yeah, Trump on the roof. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, we've got to get to Trump on the roof. And we were talking about it yesterday on the radio, on the big show. President Trump, and he wasn't on the highest part of the roof. He was on the roof, really the lowest level of the roof, over the White House press room, the press room. Now, the press room, where the press room is in the West Wing, leads back from the main house to the Oval Office and the West Wing, where the president's offices are and the highest-ranking presidential staff people are in the West Wing. And President Trump is building a ballroom onto the White House because he's not impressed with the East Room being the only facility for big events there. They set up tents on the South Lawn, and everybody has to walk through muddy grass and in the rain or under another tent to get to the tent for the big events. So he's building a thing. And President Trump is something of a builder, unlike Joe Biden, who just hides classified documents in his garage behind his Corvette. And that's about as much of a builder as he is. But President Trump on the roof yesterday, and reporters yelling questions at him and stuff. And he was having fun. He was having a good time. The guy never stops moving. And it was a lot of fun. I want to get to that in a little bit, too. But with that said, right, Michael, there's a lot going on in this. The chair of the DNC, raise your hand if you know the name of the chairman of the DNC. Huh? That's nobody. Oh, wait, there's one hand in the back. That's about it. Almost nobody knows the name of the chair of the Democratic National Committee. His name is Ken Martin. Ken Martin. And he looks like maybe an orthodontist or I don't know, slam on orthodontists, but he looks kind of like an orthodontist. And he's not a dynamic figure. He's dishonest. And they had to pick somebody. So like, hey, that guy will lie about everything. Let's get him. He is, and he's a guy. Now I love this sound. We got to play the soundbite again because he's the chair of the DNC, and he's out there and he was speaking to a gathering of the faithful. Some of them had suicide vests on. Some of them had AK-47s and Chinese SKS rifles. They like those too, and they gathered and. A number of them had buckets of gasoline and Zippo lighters because they might want to set themselves on fire. They're nuts. And DNC Chair Ken Martin, he's really going to town because he knows what the Democrat Party wants.
This is a new Democratic Party. We're bringing a knife to a knife fight.
Bringing a knife to a knife fight. That is his plan. And he He should be mocked out of the business of politics because he's trying to use an old phrase, never bring a knife to a gunfight, things like that. I remember I was on the assignment desk at CNN. I was an assignment editor here in Washington, and a man showed up in front of the White House and attacked Secret Service agents, and he pulled out a big knife, a big, huge knife, and he was attacking the Secret Service agents, who, of course, pulled out pistols and shot and killed him, and it was hilarious, I mean, it's not always hilarious when the police shoot a guy and kill him, but it was funny.
He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
That's the Chicago way, or the Scottish accent. It's the Chicago way. Yeah, there we go. And the Democrats, they're very excited that Ken Martin, he's out there, he's talking tough because said the new Democratic Party isn't your grandfather's Democratic Party. Martin says the Democrats are bringing a knife to a knife fight. It's like, wait a minute, let me sit you down and talk about this, because that doesn't make any sense. We're bringing a knife to a knife fight. Oh, where's the knife fight? You guys should stop shooting people. How about that? Shot Donald Trump, shot a Republican member of Congress on a baseball field. Who do you think shooting all these people in Washington, D.C. and carjacking all these people every weekend? Come on. Don't be stupid. Be a smarty. Go and join the Nazi Party, as Mel Brooks once wrote in lyrics. And the Democrats, they really are. They're attacking the Jewish people on campuses, firebombing the Jewish governor's mansion. They're not the good guys. Amazing stuff. Now let's because the Democrats, other Democrats, jumped on that violent imagery bandwagon with we're bringing knife to a knife fight and mangling a perfectly good old phrase. They're not a bright bunch, but they crave violence. The imagery from Democrats, it's normal now for them to use violent imagery, and they might want to stop that. And that's been pointed out to them before, and then they dial it up. Chuck Schumer threatening the Supreme Court, and we were just playing that idiot from Texas yesterday, Democrat Congresswoman, saying Trump is Hitler, and what is he? He's like a dime store Hitler. Timu Hitler, the website where you can buy cheap things. Here is another Texas Democrat named Greg Kasar.
We need to get to fair rules across the nation and not have Democrats showing up with a butter knife to a gunfight.
See, they're still working on it. They still want a gunfight or a knife fight or something like that, but they're sorting it out, and you can't. Now, this is in Texas, about gerrymandering, right, about redistricting congressional seats, where the Democrats have already done this all over the country. They've done it in California and Oregon and Washington and Minnesota and Illinois, in Maryland, in Massachusetts. They've gerrymandered the hell out of everything. They've been doing it for ages. Illinois' population goes down, and it did go down, and they lost a congressional seat because of loss of population. And then the Democrats said, well, let's figure out how we can make the best of this. The Republicans had 5 seats in the House of Representatives from Illinois until the Democrats got done with it, and they stole 2 Republican seats. And then the Republicans ended up with 3 congressional seats. The Democrats had 13 congressional seats. They ended up with 14 congressional seats, and they lost 1 overall because of the loss of population, because people are fleeing the place like it's on fire because they're stealing everything they have. Another Texas Democrat member of the House of Representatives named Mark Vesey.
We have shown up to a gunfight with nothing but good intentions and dull knives.
And here we go again. Now, the party of the Confederate States of America, they sound like they're back on the horse, don't they? And we're not done yet, because there's another Democrat from Texas by the name of Robin Kelly.
We are ready to fight fire with fire. No butter knife to the gunfight. We are ready to bring the fire, bring the heat.
Yeah, and we were playing another soundbite yesterday of another Democrat who's there was California Governor Gavin Newsom and his hair talking about fighting fire with fire, and it should be dripping with irony since they've been firebombing, the Democrats have, so many police stations and police cars and businesses and governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. Yeah, you guys, you're fighting like the fire hose with fire. But that's you got. Another Democrat representative named Jessica Gonzalez.
We have our sleeves are rolled up, and we're ready to take this fight wherever it's going to take us.
Yeah, it's a fire, and there's the sleeves rolled up, and look, my sleeves are rolled up. Democrat by the name of John Buki III. He was on CNN and coming live from Chicago.
Look, we're fighting for the people of Texas. We're doing what's right. We're not afraid of the governor. We're not afraid of Ken Paxton. We're here running into the fight to stand up for our democracy. That's what we're doing.
Illinois has been gerrymandered to the point of choking to death on the gerrymandering, and they couldn't be more ridiculous. They couldn't be bigger hypocrites if they set out to become bigger hypocrites. Yeah, you're fighting the fight with your billionaire governor, with the Democrats fleeing on a private jet, on a chartered jet to Illinois to hang out with a billionaire because, yeah, you're fighting the fight. Yeah, for what? The Sinaloa cartel? For the Chinese Communist Party? Representative Ramon Romero Jr.
Today, we Texans, we're doing something we don't normally ask for. We're asking for help. Maybe just as they did back in the days of the Alamo when they asked the rest of the country to come and join in on this fight. So we do ask you to join this fight.
Now, the Democrats have gerrymandered the state of Maryland, which I can drive a golf ball to from where I sit right now. I'd have to go up to the roof and leave the studio, but then I could hit Maryland with a golf ball. It's not very far away. And Maryland has, what is it? They have 8 congressional seats. 7 of them belong to Democrats because the Democrats have gerrymandered the hell out of the congressional districts. Only 1 Republican, and he's, some would say, not a very Republican, but I'm sure he's a nice person. And the 1 Republican has been targeted now by the left because they said, well, if Texas is doing, then in Maryland, see, we've already gerrymandered it to the point where it's completely ridiculous. Illinois, they've gerrymandered the state to the point where it's completely ridiculous. And in fact, the ridiculous corpulent governor of Illinois, who inherited billions of dollars from his grandfather and his father, he went on the Stephen Colbert show last night. And you know what, I'm gonna hold that just a little bit because I want to spend some time on Stephen Colbert and the Democrat billionaire governor Pritzker, J.B. Pritzker. And he's earned nothing in his life, nothing at all. And he went on Colbert because it's propaganda. It's all CBS network does. Why, and you know, not just for myself, but why didn't someone like me have a late night show on CBS or on NBC or on ABC or on CNN? There is nobody that has my worldview, and there's and it's just amazing. They don't have funny people on for the most part anymore, but just amazing stuff. The Democrat, yeah. So the corpulent governor was on Stephen Colbert last night. Democrat on Democrat stupidity, and even Colbert had to say, "Look what you guys have done to the." He held up a map of Illinois with the congressional districts and pointed out the ridiculousness that they have inflicted upon the once great state of Illinois. Let's grab a phone call, Mike, because I'm going to get to that shortly. Let's go to Howard, calling from Manassas, Virginia. Howard, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yes, sir, Chris. How are you?
Very well,
look,
very
I'm
well.
Serious.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm serious. They all talk about bringing a knife. It reminds me of that movie, The Untouchables, and what's his face? I guess I can't use the explanation.
Sean Connery. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he said something about an Italian bringing a knife to a gunfight, but whatever. But seriously, they've been after us to ban our guns, take our guns, our AR-15s, blah, blah, blah. The way they talk now, I wonder if they regret all that stuff. And I'm serious on this point. If they truly believe Trump is like Hitler, which I don't believe they do, but they should want all those guns, seriously, that they have always said we don't need to have. I mean, who needs assault rifle with 30 rounds to go kill a deer and all that dumbass stuff they said? But if they truly believe all the crap they're saying, then they should need and want all the guns they tell us we don't need. But they don't believe it. They don't believe it at all.
Are you suggesting that they lie a lot?
Yes, and Chris, I have one more thing to say, and this may make you feel a little uncomfortable, and this is off subject, but you and I have mutual customers. On your last cruise trip, not this one, but last year, one of our mutual customers had to cancel because he got sick, and I met this woman about 2 months ago, and she got teary, and I'm almost getting teary talking about it. But you found out that he had to cancel, and you called him and talked to him, and they were very touched, and he ended up dying. You probably don't even know that, from cancer. And she was singing your praises, and I'm telling all the radio audience that, Chris isn't perfect. I'm sure his wife would tell you, but you're a good man, buddy. Good man.
Well, you're very kind. That's a natural thing to do. But just one correction: my wife would tell you that I'm perfect.
Oh wow! Yeah. Dang, I need her to talk to my wife then.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm embellishing that just a little bit. Just a little, not too much, but a little bit. Well, Howard, thank you for that. Yes, you just reminded me of something else I have to do also. So I'm reeling. Howard, thanks for the call, and God bless us all.
You don't need an AR-15. You don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself. Buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun.
Let's go back to the telephones again, Michael. Let's go to Nick, calling from Purcellville, Virginia. Nicholas, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, good morning, Chris.
Hey, Nick.
When the moon and the stars and the sun and everything line up, that's kind of what's happening right now. Elizabeth Warren's in New York praising communist candidate Zoran Mondani. Obama's celebrating a birthday, and Trump is simultaneously planning to build a ballroom at the White House. That reminds me of a couple years ago when Obama and Warren were saying that we've never built anything. The government builds everything. And now, you remember that? And then Trump can now, so if those guys are ever in that ballroom, I'd like to be there and to say, who built this?
Yeah, they just set stuff on fire. They set fire to the Church of the Presidents and the only building in Lafayette Park. And that's kind of fun. Yeah, and I've got more coming up on that. President Trump on the roof talking to the reporters. Fun moment.